Hi folks, so here's a really quick unboxing. I got this package today from Nashville Packs. Absolutely fantastic. It's the 21st of March, so I'll check how long it actually took to get here, but it wasn't very long at all, so that's really amazing how quickly it's come. I only paid for the basic postage, so that's great. So I wanted to do a quick unboxing. This is the pack I'm going to be using for a thru hike, an upcoming thru hike. Just briefly, the reason I'm using it, I've got no complaints with my existing pack, which has been fantastic. That's the MLD Burn. I just wanted something that was a little bit bigger, so a little bit of extra space for longer carries. I also wanted to try a few different things. So this particular pack has a running vest style harness, which I was keen to try out. It's also got a bottom pocket, which was another feature that I wanted to check out. As I mentioned, a little bit extra capacity. And the other thing that appeals to me, I mean there are a number of things that appeal to me with the pack, but one of the other things in particular was that you can have the water bottles on the front. Now I sort of have been having problems with bursitis off and on for a number of years, probably starting when I was lifting heavy dive gear that I shouldn't have been lifting. But anyway, I found it particularly bad recently, so I've found that, you know, just lifting my arm up and, you know, things like that are pretty difficult to do, let alone getting to water bottles that are behind me. So, I mean, just doing that is quite painful, just putting my hand to there. So, I get a little bit in the left shoulder as well, but primarily the right shoulder. So, you know, when I'm doing longer trips, it's more difficult to sort of just be able to flip the pack off and get to water bottles and that, because I'm carrying a lot of stuff on the front and I've got a lot of things clipped up, okay, which makes it difficult. So this has, being a running style vest, this has a couple of large pockets on the front that are set up for carrying water. And the other thing that really appeals to me about that, so there are a number of packs around where you can put water bottles on the front if you want to. I could do the same thing with my Burn just by changing the pockets. But the water bottle pockets on other packs usually don't allow you to carry other things as well. So you've either got a water bottle in the pocket or you've got something else. So I really like with these ones that you have multiple pockets, so you can hopefully, and I'm going to see if this works, put water bottles and my phone and a whole bunch of other things on the front, because I like to have things accessible that I'm going to be using throughout the day. So let's do a quick unboxing, and I'll show you. I'm just amazed how small this package is actually, because when I got home I saw a package in my letterbox and I thought, oh, it's probably my order from LiteAF, I'm just getting a couple of straps and things. No, it was this. It fit into my letterbox. That was amazing. And I just want to say as well, shout out to the folks at Nashville Packs. I got some fantastic support leading up to my order, so that was great. You know, I'd forgotten to include, you know, something fairly important in the order, and they let me know, and I was able to cancel the order and do a new one. And I also got advice ahead of time about, you know, pack choice and things like that. Okay. Fantastic. So here's my order. Yep, I've got the sternum straps, I've got shock cord and toggle for pad attachment. So that's another thing I wanted to try, having my sit pad on the outside of my pack. I've got the shoulder straps. These are the running vest style shoulder straps, and I got them in size 19, which I thought seemed about right. Make sure you check out all the videos and instructions on sizing everything, because they're really helpful and important. And I also got the Cutaway pack and this was in the 20-inch side and ultra grid. Now I wasn't entirely sure where to go with the pack material. I've had a similar sort of grid stock before in one of my Mount Laurel Designs packs, and it lasted fine. And as with a lot of pack manufacturers, the packs come out in batches. So there are a range of different materials you can get these in. There's the Ultra Grid, there's Ultra, and there's another one as well, which I think is a type of Zpacks material. So I could have, at the time I bought this, I didn't really have time to wait for, say, an Ultra pack to come in. But at the time I bought this, I could have got one of the Zpacks materials or various colour options in the grid stop. I shouldn't call it grid stop, the Ultra Grid. So I wasn't sure what to do with that. Obviously the Zpacks would be more waterproof, as would be Ultra if I waited for that. That was one thing I considered. The waterproofness is good, but I mean, my DCF pack is not waterproof anymore. It used to be, but it lets a bit of water in now. So that's one thing. Obviously it doesn't hold the water in the way that this sort of material potentially could, but you know, it's not waterproof anymore. So that's, I think every pack that you own is going to eventually let water in, because you know the materials and the seams and everything will wear over time. So yeah, that was one consideration. The other consideration I had was the colour, and I've already got, you know, a fairly dark coloured pack, so I wanted to go for something a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter. Okay, so you can see I've gone for this greeny yellow, and I did a little bit of research on it, and the green, I assume the fluorescent type greens, are actually the most visible type of material. So you know, if you're worried about being run over by cars on back streets, you know, or if you just want to make sure that you can be seen by other hikers or other wilderness users, particularly the ones that carry big guns, I think this sort of brighter material is a good idea. And yeah, as I said, the greeny colours were apparently the most visible by a significant margin, okay, versus say a white colour, certainly black, but other colour choices as well. And this was the most green, and what I thought was the brightest colour to choose from. So even though I'm not going to have a massive amount of road walking for this particular trip, I thought that was a good feature to have. So there's the pack. It's got a yellow bum, that's interesting. That's the lycra pocket for underneath. Okay, haven't seen that before. Okay. Obviously there are other packs that have these, but I don't know. The ones I've seen before have more of a sort of elastic sort of grid. This is actually not stretchy, this material, but often they have like a stretchy material on the pack itself and also on the bottom. This is a stretchy material here, I think. Yeah, down the side. So the water bottle pockets, which if you haven't seen these packs before, this is actually one continuous pocket that goes right the way across the back, so you can have your water bottles either side and other stuff in here. Another interesting thing because I've been looking at these packs for quite a while, another interesting thing I saw is that they have this extra little pocket here on the top, which I thought would be really good for stuff that I might have to grab during the day. So, you know, my toilet kit and things like that, which means I don't have to go sticking my hands all the way down here, and I can save this for bigger items like, you know, tarps, wet tarps and things like that. Cool, so there's the pack. Works out around about, I think the total volume works out around 35 litres, or about 30 litres up to the shoulder straps, that sort of area there. Okay, so you'll notice that in addition to having that pocket down there, there's nothing on this at the moment. So with these packs, they're modular, so you buy them in different bits and you put them together. So I've got in addition to the pack, I have my shoulder straps, which will be, there we go that way, like that. And you go through and attach them at the top here, like that. Oops, wrong way. There we go, get it right. And this will be my, yeah, so that'll be my chest straps in there. So I just bought two chest straps to go over here, which we attach at various points along here. Okay, I'll have to work all that sort of stuff out. And I've also got some bungee to go over the front and hold my sleeping pad, and I'll have to kind of probably resize that a little bit to fit. At the moment it's just kind of sized to fit inside my other pack. Cool, so I better get on and put that together. You can see how it's got these water bottle pockets at the front here. That's where the bottom of the water bottle goes, and I think you just clip the tops here with the bungee. And you've also got these pockets here that you can use to put phones and things like that in. Okay, and then you've got pockets up the top here as well. So I'm just going to sort of work it all out and yeah, set it up and work out where everything's going to go. So yeah, interesting looking pack, and I'm sort of keen to get out and try it. The other thing I should mention, you know, again with this modular design, I've actually ordered a couple of, oh, don't know what that does. Oh, that must attach that. There we go. So you've got these little tabs down the bottom here, which you can attach stuff to. I've actually got, with my bum pack, I've actually got, which I could actually try if I have a play around with this before the LiteAF stuff arrives. But I've got a little strap that goes around that attaches to the bum pack, okay, and also transfers some of the weight onto the hips. That was the important thing for me, was to be able to transfer weight onto the hips, because as I said, I have problems with my shoulders and that, and my back, particularly my lower back, is an issue with weight. So what I've done is I've ordered in a couple of padded waist straps from LiteAF, and I'm sort of experimenting with how to attach them. So I actually ordered in two different sizes. I ordered in a large and a medium or small, whatever they call it, and that way I can see which works best for different options. So for example, if I wear a bum pack with this, I'm going to see whether I can actually have the padded hip belt as well as the bum pack attached to the same strap. And also the other thing I considered doing with this was to attach my Zpacks multi-pack, in which case I would need a slightly larger hip belt, so that the attachment points are in the right location. So yeah, that's coming, and when I've got it, I'll put it all together and do a bit of experimenting. Okay, so the lighting in here isn't too good at the moment. My video lights failed, so we'll just have to rely on the fluorescent, which probably won't be too good. But I just wanted to show you, I've been using the pack now for a couple of weeks, and I just wanted to show you how I've sort of set things up, just quickly. I experimented, I fitted originally just plain 1-inch webbing with clips on either side and had a bum pack attached there. So that was okay. I found I could cinch that up quite well, but I wasn't too keen on how the bum pack sort of rides, and I've always had that issue. I put them around the back and they're fine, but when they're in the front they're a bit uncomfortable. So what I did next was, it took a while for the LiteAF stuff to arrive, unfortunately, but I think it must have been caught in customs. Sometimes that happens. What I did was I fitted these small LiteAF padded hip belts. Okay, so one on each side like that. These are the small ones. And as I mentioned earlier, I tried to put the bum pack in there, and it fitted, but it was a bit loose. And I figured it was probably fine while I'm wearing a belt and that, but I don't normally wear a belt when I'm hiking. And also I'm probably going to lose a bit of weight as I go along. So it was right on the limit. So I felt that it really wasn't going to work for a long hike. You know, it was just going to get too loose, and so it'd keep falling down and really start to annoy me, and also not transfer the weight properly. So next thing I did was I looked at the larger LiteAF padded hip belt, and I thought I could use that with the Zpacks multi-pack. Unfortunately, where it was tacked on, none of the positions really worked, or they weren't. There was nowhere you could actually attach the clips for the multi-pack that were in the right position. And the other thing I found was that, on me at least, the large was a little bit too big. So once again, I was at the limit, the minimum diameter, and I thought that, again, it's probably going to be too loose once I start doing some hiking and lose a bit of weight. So I put those to one side and went back to the small padded hip belts, and actually these are pretty good. You'll see in the earlier video how I attached these clips to them, and they're in just the right position for the multi-pack, so they connect just where you want them to be. And I also attached these two bungee clips up the top here, and it just sits really nicely, so that's great. Just quickly with the rest of the pack, so probably most people are probably not going to have one of these little multi-packs sitting down there. Personally, I quite like them. I've been using them with my old pack for quite a long time. They save a bit of space in your pack because you can put things in here and you don't need to have them in your pack. They also make some stuff quite accessible, like food and things like that. And the strategy that I use is I put small, heavy items into here and also onto the front of my pack, and then the larger but less dense items, so like quilts and that sort of stuff, go into the main pack. And that just maximizes the weight of the stuff that you've got on the front here, so transfers as much of the weight as you can to the front. And that's really good for balance, but also to save your back a bit, because this weight is primarily on my hips. But yeah, that's probably going to be different to what most people will do. You know, most people will probably just have the straps and then all the rest of the stuff in the pack. So I'll just run through what I've got on the front here, and then quickly talk about the rest of how I've set the rest of the pack up. So up the top here on the left-hand top pocket, I've got some sunscreen, some zinc, and also my headlamp. Then, I don't have it in there now, but I have my phone in this middle pocket. That goes really well. A water bottle in the big pocket. I've got some hand sanitizer at the front here, which is just bungeed on. And because this pack doesn't actually have a whistle on any of the clips, I like to have a whistle. So that's part of my survival gear or emergency gear. So I put a little tiny whistle on here. And you also notice I've trimmed the straps considerably. But I did make sure I left enough length there in case I do need to make any adjustments. So if I'm wearing bulkier clothes, or if having the pack fully loaded affects the straps at all, I can let them out a little bit. Now on the other side, I have my compass up the top here. So this is something that probably most ultralight people won't carry, but the compass I have is a reasonable size and it's a mirror compass. So that's just attached here. Again, I'm using lanyards so that none of this stuff gets lost. But I think it's really important to have a really good quality compass for navigation and finding general direction, but also having the mirror on here is really useful. You know, if something pokes into your face or some other part of your body that you can't easily see, you can, you know, check and make sure you haven't injured yourself too badly. Also, if there's other things going on behind your back, you know, you can open the mirror up and just sort of use it like that to see what's going on. You know, if you've got a tick or something like that. So I think the mirror compass is a really handy thing. In this middle pocket on this side, I try and keep to fairly narrow, thin items in these middle pockets so they're not kind of interfering with the water bottles too much. So what I have in here is a power bank, a Nightcore power bank, and just above it I've got my power cable. So I suppose if I wanted to, I could actually run the cable over the back of my neck and charge my phone as I went along, but that wasn't really the intention. It just seemed like a good spot to put that, for now at least. And then of course we've got a water bottle again on this. In my multi-pack, again, not something most people will have, but what I've got in here is my cook kit. I've got a first aid kit and my maps and things like that, and other items that I might need, what you'd probably call a ditty bag. So for example, my Garmin InReach is in there, and I've got my charger and things like that. As part of my cook kit and to some extent the first aid kit, there are survival items as well. So I have a knife of some sort, you know, even just a little tiny one usually. I've got a lighter, I've got some cordage, I've got tinder, I've got, you know, basic things like that. I'm not like carrying a massive amount of stuff, but just the basics that turn this into just a small survival kit. So this actually, I could actually take this multi-pack off if I wanted to and walk with it without the pack, because I've got, because I can just run a strap over from these clips and hang it around my shoulders. Okay, so that's the front. That's what I've come up with for the front. Apart from that, I have my sleeping pad or sit pad there. Okay. For me, this is really just a backup because I do have an inflatable pad. I haven't got the whole thing here. It's only a small section, and I use it primarily for keeping my feet warm. So my pad's 3/4 length. If I was hammock camping, I'd be using a 3/4 length quilt. So I just need something to go under my feet, and that's what this is for, or I can use it as a sit pad. In the front here, I've got a few bits and pieces like my polycryo ground sheet and some gloves and things like that. So just day-to-day items that I might need. On the back, my water bottles are primarily on the front. However, in these side pockets at the moment, I've got spare water bottles. So these are just roll-up water bottles that don't take very much space. So if I do need to increase my water carrying capacity, I can without a great weight penalty, and also have my filter there as well. Moving on, I've got down the bottom in this pocket my tarp with all of the cordage attached. Then in this top small pocket, I've got my pegs, and then my toilet kit. And just temporarily I have my hat and sunnies in here, so most of the time I would be wearing these. And yeah, if there's anything else that I'm finished, anything else during the day that's maybe wet or whatever, I can attach it to the outside of the pack here or put it in here. So plenty of space for all that sort of stuff. The inside of the pack is pretty standard. I've just got my quilt, any clothing and that's going to be used for camping, for camp, and those kind of things, and food. Obviously there's no food in here at the moment. This obviously will compact down a lot more. I haven't filled the pack completely, and then I'll have my food as well. So that's what I've come up with. Hopefully this will be interesting to some of you. Personally, I found that there wasn't a lot of stuff on YouTube about the Nashville Packs, apart from the company themselves, any reviews and things like that. I obviously wasn't intending to make this a review. Maybe I can talk a bit more about how I went with the pack once I've done once I've had a lot more time with it. So I'm heading over to Western Australia for the Bibbulmun Track in the next few days. So hopefully I'll have some insights from that. So far I've been really loving it. I've been really finding the running vest style shoulder straps really comfortable, and I've also been happy with these particular waist straps that I put on as well. I thought that was a good addition to the pack. You've probably noticed that I'm not really sort of particularly brand loyal. I'll just go for whatever I think's the best, and I'll sort of try and think things through and put different components together in a way that I think works. So I like the look of the Nashville pack. I like these features, running vest style straps and all of that, but I also find the Zpacks multi-packs really good. I've been using that for a number of years now, and the LiteAF waist straps look like they'd be the business for transferring some of the weight, but also giving me a bit more cushioning there. So yeah, I think it's good to sort of mix and match and put things together into a system to a customized system that works for you. And definitely the Nashville packs lend themselves to that, because there's a lot of customization there. So I'm going to make adjustments if I need to as I go along, and you can do that quite easily to the lengths of the straps and all of those sort of things. Okay, so thanks for listening everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.